Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Hit the Ropes Radio, episode 343. All up in your ear. What's going on? Yo, everybody.
Yo, yo, yo.
What's going on, man?
I'm struggling here to eat some pizza. That's why I haven't did my video yet. So I'm gonna allow y'all to to jump off this episode, and I'm gonna pop in a second.
Oh, great. I just said the heck with food. I had my priorities in order, but what's going on, Stokes?
Hey, you know, man, nothing much, man. Get ready for another great show.
All right, well,
Hoping
we got
to keep my blood pressure down this week.
We got a full house because all four of us are here, and I am ready for Stokes and Mac to just knock heads.
I don't entertain clowns, man. Let's get on with the show.
Big baller brand.
That man's laughter is all up in my ear.
Good.
Oh, let me turn my volume down.
Please, God, turn it down.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all should be happy that my microphone is like super legit.
I guess it's about time. You know, it was only like the first 20 episodes where he had like the worst microphone in the history of podcasting.
It's not true.
All right. Well, I thought you'd be rocking your Triple B hat, Mac. What happened, man?
I'm still. It'll be here next week.
With them $495 sneakers.
Oh no, I can't. If Lonzo shoes was $180, I would support, but no, not at $500. I don't
draw
buy
the line.
If Lonzo shoes was $1, I wouldn't support.
Man, support black business. We're trying to be black business owners ourselves. So why you not go? Why you hating on the young king, bro?
Listen, hey, we here to talk wrestling, man. Don't ruin my day by talking about Lonzo Ball.
They were on Raw last week, so technically,
I wasn't on the show last week. Thanks, Shane. So, are you looking for my viewpoints on that? I'll just say this. Oh, okay. I'll just say this, and then we can go on to this week. The worst segment possibly in the history of professional wrestling. That's all I'll say. Let's move on.
Clown shoes.
Okay, we shall move on. Now, we've got the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view coming up on Sunday from the WWE.
Every time somebody says that.
I hate the name so much. We just came off of TNA's Global Force Wrestling, Anthem Entertainment, Impact Wrestling, whatever their name is. They just came off of their Slammiversary 15th anniversary show on Sunday. So there's some talking points there. We've got NJPW, New Japan. They just had their special American show a couple days ago. So we're going to talk about that. So we've got some stuff to discuss. All four of us. That's why we're here. It's a packed show. Well, three of us. Darius once he's done eating.
Domino's special, baby.
Chat room, thanks for joining us, and let's just jump right into it. This again is episode 343, HTR Uncut, Great Balls of Fire preview show, brought to you by thevesey.com. Check out the Vesey, TheVesey.com, a black media corporation. Thevesey.com.
I was trying to get y'all in on it, man. Come on. We got to do better.
I know what you're trying to do. But it was whack. All right, so let's just jump into
Sorry, go ahead.
Let's just jump into it since we going at each other's necks. Anyway, let's just go straight to the SmackDown Independence Day, the major talking point, not John Cena's return to the ring. But
his promo was great, by the way.
You're just a John Cena fanboy. it wasn't John Cena's return. It wasn't Rusev's return. No, it was a rap battle between the Usos and the New Day, judged by Wale. Mac, I know you're always, whoa, what is up with that noise? Mac, I know you.
Say, I don't know. It sounds like we live at Smack URL right now with somebody's background noise.
I thought it was like some baby wolves in the background or something. I'm hearing like howling and all types of carrying out.
All right, Mac, because you're always the one to talk about mumble raps. You're the first one out of us to talk about mumble rappers and all of that. So I'm going to go to you first. Your thoughts on the bars that were dropped on Tuesday Night SmackDown Live.
Well, first of all, I enjoyed the segment. It was one of the best segments on wrestling TV in a long time. I will say that I love the fact that they had an actual rapper who is a actual WWE fan. Shout out to Wale. Moderate the rap battle, and the New Day got washed. I'll be honest. The Usos was spitting bars. Kofi was kind of, Big E was lame. I like what the New Day kind of played to their shtick. But Jimmy and Jay came well prepared for a battle, and the New Day were only saved by young Xavier Woods and his doctoral domination with his bars. So overall, I enjoyed the segment. It was a great segment. I hit the floor when I heard the X-rated like Xavier Woods line, and then because I never thought they would allude to that on TV. And also
they already did.
The carrying bags for Roman line had me hit me in the chest too. But overall, it was a good segment. One of the best segments that I've seen on wrestling TV in a minute. So overall, I was generally pleased with it.
All right, Stokes. The chemistry between the Usos and the New Day. Just speak on that. Speak on that, if you will.
You know what I think is obviously very good. I think a lot of that stems from, I think they're all like friends, like in real life. I know I see a lot of I shouldn't say a lot, but when I occasionally check out like Xavier Woods up down down page, he's always gaming, playing Madden or whatever against the Usos. So I just think they have a natural chemistry, and it's always great, in professional wrestling when you have, two people or a tag team or whatever it may be, of people that actually genuinely, like each other, because they can kind of go there, take some of the shots they took. Like they took some, the Xavier Woods DVD thing, talking about Rikishi and, riding Naomi's coattails. They hit below the belt, but I think they knew it was all in jest because they're all good friends, outside of the ring. So I think sometimes those type of relationships allow you to get some depth out of a storyline that you might not normally get. If it was two people that had, or a tag team or whatever, that had worse chemistry. So they have great chemistry. And we'll see what happens as they move forward and move towards Battleground. I'm thinking they're going to have a tag team title match. So we'll see what comes of that. But I thought the rap battle was good. I like Kofi's bars too. Kofi had the one. What was it? Weenie Do. Yeah. So that was pretty funny. But other than that, surprisingly, I actually agree with most of what McIntosh said here. Regarding the battle. So, as much as it pains me to say that.
Oh, the contrarian.
Well, it looks like our fourth member is done stuffing his face. Mr. Darius Brown, any additional thoughts from you on the Usos New Day confrontation?
Well, just the fact that the WWE was able to go a route that allowed them to get a actual rapper involved. We know back they tried with Cena's WrestleMania debut, they tried to have the rap battle. They said that LL Cool J was the final person that was supposed to take up the rap battle, and before he backed out. So they have tried getting rappers involved in some way, and they figured out the way to do it without embarrassing or potentially embarrassing them by going up against a wrestler. So, but they also parlayed that to signing. I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter or Facebook, any of the social media, but Titus Brand signed Wale. So they are crossing over and they are getting the most out of it. So I remember seeing like last week that Wale had talked about doing something, that he's about to do something with the WWE, and that maybe this wasn't just the one-off rap battle and we'll see more, or just that was they had him that night, so they found a way to spin it to get a little extra miles out of his name. So, but I'm definitely not a hip hop head, and
what Master Beats? You're not.
So my question to you guys is, how far does
what's a rap battle? Is that your question?
Well, they were calling it on Twitter. They were calling it a rap off. If you've been following, Kofi had to keep correcting. Please stop calling it a rap off.
Yes, that is so white. Yeah. Sorry to my white in the chat room. Rap off is probably the most whitest term that you could give it. It is a rap battle.
It is a rap battle. So my question is, we've been speaking of we were speaking about Jay-Z and his reach. He's an OG. What's Wale's reach today? Yeah, I mean, does anybody listen to Wale? Yeah. Like, is anybody buying his album? Is this cool?
My wife is a closet Wale fan.
I actually, before this last album came out, which I haven't heard yet, I actually had his last 2 albums. I think Wale is dope. And the fact that he's like a genuine wrestling fan is like, I think it's awesome. And he doesn't hide it. A lot of people, especially when you get kind of big, you kind of hide your fandom for certain things. But, Wale has kept it 100, and he's a legit wrestling fan. He's always shouting out WWE on Twitter. So, I mean, to me, that was like a match made in heaven.
And to answer your question and to use your terminology, Wale is not an OG, as you like to say it. That he has not reached that status yet. He is.
No. I said Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
We were speaking of Jay-Z.
Yeah. You were asking where Wale stands. Yeah. Wale is well known. I would say he's definitely among the more known mainstream rappers out there. So for those not familiar, but what I liked about the battle, if you might have to YouTube this, Darius, and other people in the chat room if they've never seen an actual rap battle, they actually stay true to form to kind of how real life rap battles are. It's a gang of dudes like standing around in a circle. One guy raps, and he has like 15 just random dudes standing behind him, and they pretty much just every time he says like a really cool punchline. So they actually got it as close to a legit rap battle as you can actually get.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I saw all those dudes come out with the Usos at first. I'm like, what is this? And then Wale actually shouted out Don DeMarco from the URL battles. So it was great. I think it had the atmosphere of a smack URL battle to me. But well done. Bravo to the WWE for not royally screwing up that segment, because we know that they could have.
Yeah. Well, HD in the chat room is alluding to the fact that he wants to hear some wrestling talk. So,
I mean, we are talking. It is wrestling. It was on. This was being promoted for weeks now.
Especially,
I'm moving on.
He said, "Welcome to the special musical episode of Hit the Ropes."
Hey, we talk music, we talk movies,
we talk LeVar Ball.
Let's not talk LeVar Ball. Let's move on. Don't. Let's not do it today. What happened on it today?
He's got a reality show. Check it out on thevessi.com. All right, so John Cena returned because we were talking about this in the chat room. John Cena returned, and so did Rusev. Stokes, whose return are you more excited for? Is it John Cena or Rusev?
Rusev. John Cena came out with his usual. Oh, first of all, we already know Courtney is a Cena fanboy because we went to WrestleMania with this guy, and he had on the bright red Fruity Pebbles John Cena shirt. So you already know he's a fanboy. So, of course, he's going to say Cena. But I was much happier to see Rusev back. I was wondering when the heck he was going to come back because he had teased coming back and challenging for the title or at least wanting a title opportunity or he would not come back. But Cena came back, sparked his return. So I'm much happier to see Rusev than the typical, it's Independence Day, people, and I'm back with hustle, loyalty, and respect, and all these different things. So I'm with Rusev being back. I'm much more happier with that than Cena.
Let me go to you. Let me go to you, Darius, because we know Mac is gonna be screaming and hollering, oh, Cena. So let me just go to you, Brown. Your thoughts on this upcoming flag match?
Yeah, it's really hokey. A flag match. Who cares? This is 1980, dude. I mean, I don't know. There's two ways to think about this. Cena's going to come in and he's going to wipe the floor with Rusev, and then he's going to be recruited over to do something on Raw, and Rusev will, be just another afterthought. Or they had good chemistry. We saw that in their initial Raw feud. They had some great stuff going there. I don't know if John Cena's comments where he spoke about people rising up when they face him and then drop off into nowhere and it's not his fault, they don't keep up the hustle after going up against him was towards Rusev or not. But this is his opportunity to get that build again and then sustain that long after. So that's what I'm hoping happens. I actually hope Cena loses and this propels him because we still need stars on SmackDown. And Rusev could be the biggest heel on SmackDown.
Oh, wait a minute.
He's gonna lose.
Not gender? Not y'all's boy? Not gender.
Oh boy, haters
he
gonna
could
hate.
Be.
I could tell you that Rusev ain't gonna be, showing any true main event status immediately because other than the fact that he's wrestling Cena, we know he's gonna be, Cena's quote unquote bitch when it's time for that pay-per-view. We know who the winner is gonna be because you got SummerSlam right around the corner. I don't think they're gonna go into SummerSlam with Cena versus Rusev. I'm pretty sure they're gonna want Cena going up against one of their bigger, more established names,
i.e., someone on Raw.
I was going to say the same thing. Somebody on Raw.
Yeah, okay, exactly. So this is going to surprise you guys. So I would say that I would be happier for Rusev to be back if it wasn't the fact that he was facing John Cena. Look, it's the same thing with Miz and Ambrose. You kind of get tired of the same two guys back and forth, and we've already seen the heroic patriot John Cena versus the evil foreigner Rusev already. That storyline is played out, man. So I'm gonna go with neither. And I think, and it's only because of circumstances. And I see how y'all don't sold me right there, okay? But I mean, it's just like if it was Cena just coming back, look, man, SmackDown needed kind of like an injection of something, and I think Cena could have provided that. And I also think Rusev should come back and be, you know, the top heel almost, or on that tier and on SmackDown. But the fact that, you know, Cena comes back and immediately on Independence Day of all days, you put him in a feud in a flag match, no doubt, no less, with Rusev, and it's just, you know, it's not nothing to look forward to.
Nah. I just think that when I heard flag match, I was like, okay, it's kind of hokey, as Dara said, but I thought they were gonna do it there on SmackDown because it's Independence Day.
That would have. Wait a minute. You know better, Shane, than to make sense when you're talking about a wrestling storyline. You know better than that. That would have made sense. I thought of the Patriot versus Bret Hart when they said flag match, because that was that's like the only flag match that I remember. And like Bret, wasn't that the one where Bret like dug up his nose with the American flag or something like that?
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought the same thing, Shane. I thought they would go. I thought they would do the match on SmackDown, being a date. What was the date? No, yesterday was Independence Day. So exactly. Yeah, but
it would have made sense. But like you said,
it would have made perfect sense.
Yeah. All right. Please. All right. So to just hop off the WWE train for a moment, because we're still going to do a little rundown on the pay-per-view. I want to talk about one point on TNA Global Force. Again, there's so many darn names. They're rebooting their company one more time. But Slammiversary.
They actually just released the new logo today.
Is there an owl?
Oh, did they now?
Yeah, they did. They revealed the new logo today. I mean, I haven't looked at it. I just saw it on the top banner of Cage Side Seats. So.
Does it have a G, a F, and a W in it?
It looks like a cleaned up version of the old logo. The old logo looks like they put it together with, Microsoft Paint. This one it's just the name Global Force Wrestling, but it looks cleaned. So
okay, well, they had their Slammiversary pay-per-view mentioned at the top of the hour. We had a celebrity non-wrestling entity in the form of D'Angelo Williams. Shout out to the Carolina Panthers there. Yeah. D'Angelo Williams. Currently unemployed, so I guess he decided to fill his time by getting into the ring, and he did a very good job. He only had 3 days of actual wrestling training.
That's it?
That was the thing that shocked me when I read that he only had 3 days of training.
That means anybody can do it, right?
Yeah, he went up. I was reading an interview. He went into the gym for like 3 days. Was a product of 3 days. I don't know how long he was spending in the gym each of those days, but for somebody who, just stepped into the ring for the, for what, the 4th day or 5th day, that I think he was very impressive. What were your thoughts, Mac?
I even though he almost killed himself, I still enjoyed that spot because look, it looks like, and that's only 3 days of training, but it looks like he could pull it. What was that? What, a 450 he was trying to do, or a shooting star press?
No, I think it was just a frog splash.
Oh yeah, sorry.
You got to
go down there.
Sorry. It was just a frog splash, and he did overshoot the table, but he got up high enough. He pulled the move off in the air, the little frog, motion in the air, and he overshot the table. But I was impressed. I really was impressed. I got to be honest. And yeah, it seems like I'm doing a lot of hand talking tonight, but sorry. I was impressed. I don't know about you guys. I was impressed.
Said a lot just to say you were impressed. All right, thank you.
Exactly.
All
right,
Stokes. Stokes.
Yeah. Well, seeing as go
you?
ahead. No. Go ahead. What were you gonna say? My bad.
No, I was saying, what about you?
Well, it was the only thing that I saw from Slammiversary because, and that was only because it was on the internet. So I saw it. I too was very impressed with what D'Angelo had to offer. He looked really fluid. Like he didn't look like robotic, like you've seen some of the other celebrities who jump in the wrestling ring, i.e. Karl Malone, i.e. Dennis Rodman, i.e. Lawrence Taylor. Some of those guys that looked
Titus
really
O'Neil.
Titus O'Neil is an actual wrestler, but whatever. But I think I get the joke. But no, he was very fluid. He seemed to move really well in the ring. And, my thought was, hey, if an NFL team doesn't come a-calling, I'm sure the GFW can use him. They don't got no other stars in there. They might as well roll with him. Let him wrestle a few matches to stay in shape until an NFL team calls. But overall, I thought he did a good job.
All right. Well, Mr. Darius Brown, could you give everybody some insight? Would he hang around if no NFL team calls?
Well, he's already said that unfortunately that was his debut and his retirement match. In interviews that he provided with I think it was the NFL Network or NFL.com, he said he promised his late uncle, who was a big wrestling fan. This was actually to ESPN's Adam Schefter, that he would give it a shot and participate in the match. And it was a much better performance. Like, I remember seeing not too long ago another former NFL player who happened to be his tag team partner that night at Slammiversary 15, Moose, his first match in ROH, and I thought this guy was going to be a dud from that first match in ROH. I mean, I just did not like it, didn't get it. And although everything was set up for D'Angelo Williams in this bout, everything was made for him to look like a star so they can get that ESPN clip. They GFW Wrestling, they retweeted that it did like over 1 million hits on Instagram. So everything was set up to get this attention, but he looked like $1 million, and for doing it just one time, it's kind of surprising. But he says he's looking to play. He's waiting for a call. He said he held off signing any contracts because a contract would prohibit him from wrestling at Slammiversary. So he's held off. So now that it's open, he's probably going to get picked up as a backup somewhere. He is a Carolina Panther, so I know him pretty well as far as a fan's perspective is concerned, and the dude is a beast.
All right. That hometown knowledge and research from Mr. Darius Brown there. All right. So before we leave TNA, the main event had the unification match between Bobby Lashley and Alberto El Patron. Lashley lost to El Patron. Does El Patron, as the top champion in this new version of Impact Wrestling, make any of you guys more interested in the product?
Nope.
Nah. Sorry. No. He sucked as a champion in WWE. I don't say sucked, but I mean, he wasn't that great as a champion in WWE, so no, it doesn't make me want to tune in more or do anything like that. I'm curious as to why they didn't keep Cody Rhodes around. He seems to be like the hottest thing in wrestling right now, but they let him go. They let him slide. So even him being champion wouldn't make me interested. I don't know why I made that point, because even he can't spark my interest, but that would have been a good move.
All right. So that's a resounding no from everybody.
What's funny is I actually have been watching a couple Bobby Lashley clips, And I actually like Bobby Lashley in TNA. And he's got that cocky kind of like, yeah, I'm better than you heel type of thing. I liked it. I would have liked to see him, remain as champion, but they brought in Al Patron for a reason, and that was to put the belt on him because he's the biggest name guy they have. So I understand why they did it. So I mean, it's not going to make me watch the product anymore, but I mean, as long as he puts on a good match, I guess he puts on a good match.
Is Al Patron any relation to El Patron?
Okay, El Patron.
Just asking for a friend. I'm just asking.
No. All right. So you brought up Cody Rhodes. He's not in TNA, but I know where he was, a few days ago, and that was in California for NJPW.
In the city of Long Beach. I just had to do that.
DB, did you catch any of the G1 special?
Me?
Darius Brown, DB.
Oh, DB. I'm like, are you calling me a douchebag? Like, I didn't, I'm not knowing. Like, what's going on here?
I've only caught the highlights on Twitter. I'm not a New Japan follower. I did notice that they were in Long Beach and that this was a pretty big weekend for them. The first big show on U.S. soil. But no, I saw that Kenny Omega. I haven't up until this point delved into it. I know people are saying now that Kenny Omega is the greatest wrestler on the planet, and that but I've said this, that we had this argument before. You can't be the greatest unless you face the greatest. You can't. So until he gets into the big league and proves he can compete, then I can't validate that claim. So, but again, I haven't seen much of his matches, so I'll be honest there. But even other wrestlers that I have caught outside, it still stands. So, but no, I didn't see any. I don't know. I liked the Japanese style back in the 2000s when I would go ahead and get the tapes. But I'm not up on it, and it's so much wrestling. It's hard to keep up with everything.
All right, Max, I know that you have been trying to and did you catch any of the special?
Yeah, I saw the first night. I watched. I forgot it was on. I knew it was coming on, but I forgot it was on because I was out Friday. So when I got back, I caught the tail end of it, and then I re-recorded the replay. Now, and yo, man, it's hard to sit through 3 hours of wrestling, let alone 4 hours of wrestling, especially when you hardly know any of the guys that are wrestling. That being said, I did like what I saw. A lot of the matches, because they had a lot of multi-man matches on the first night. A lot of multi-man matches can just get crazy all of a sudden, and follow the exact same format, because like the first match of the night was a 10-man tag, and then the second match of the night was an 8-man tag, and I'm like, and that just kind of like threw me off. But they had their the United States Champion tournament that night. Jay Lethal is so underrated, man. I loved watching Jay Lethal wrestle. And he had a very good match against Hangman Page, who I had never heard of him before, but apparently he's a member of the Bullet Club. But he can wrestle. He and Jay Lethal had put on a really good match. Jay Lethal showed his injuries the entire match. Even struggled with his moves in a way that somebody who's selling an injury should. Not like we see in WWE, where we see guys come out to the ring and they're taped up and stuff like that. And you okay, this guy's not really hurt. Jay Lethal looked legitimately hurt, and it looked like he was struggling to pull off some of his moves. But it was a very good match. And overall, I really liked the card. It was my first time ever watching a full Kenny Omega match. I love the Young Bucks. Friday night, I actually went ahead and bought a Young Bucks t-shirt.
No, you went to the dark side, man.
Hey, I love, because it takes guys like that, because sometimes you need guys like that to sell the product, and they sell the hell out of the product.
They sell themselves. They're good marketing themselves.
I mean, hey, man, they got a deal with Hot Topic. They're not supposed to lose in the opening match of the card, but hey, they did. And I borrowed that line from Matt, who actually uttered that after they lost the match. But yeah, I really enjoyed what I saw, and I'm trying to expand, you know, the type of wrestling that I watch, you know, just to keep it away from, I mean, just to watch something different than WWE. And I liked what I saw from New Japan, you know, this weekend. So I didn't catch any the second night because I didn't know what channel. It was only on New Japan World, which is their streaming service, which is like WWE Network, and it's also the $10 a month. But I mean, I was thoroughly impressed. You know, there's a lot of guys who I never heard of, and you know, those guys put on a good match, man. The Briscoes, like I said, the Super Kick Twins, Jushin Thunder Liger was on the card. You know, hey man, it was a pretty good match. I mean, a pretty good card. I enjoyed watching it. So I'm looking to see more from New Japan. I know that I have access, so I know they come on Access like Friday night. So I'll be watching. So
the Super Kick Twins. All right. Stokes, did you catch any of the action?
No, we can move on.
Yeah.
oh boy.
we try to get the people something different. All right, real quick before we move on.
I did hear that Jim Ross sucked on commentary. That's all I
heard. Well, I kind of tune out. I tune out the announcers when I watch these wrestling shows. I watched part 2 of the G1 special. I didn't watch the first day, but I do want to mention that I love the Young Bucks. Don't care what you say, Darius Brown. I love the Young Bucks.
Ding, ding, ding.
And you're a joke. And I lost my train. Oh, Kenny Omega won he's the American champion. So
he looks so random. Like he looks so like
he should be surfing
like a poor man's Brian Pillman.
Yes. That's exactly what he looks like. Yes, he does. A poor man's Brian Pillman. That's a great one. That's a great analogy. Great comparison. I mean, yes.
Well, he is the American champion, and I just want to make mention the fact that in the WWE, who is the United States champion, and over in New Japan, you have Kenny Omega, who's a Canadian, who is the United States champion for New Japan. So there you go. Americans, you got to do better. You're falling behind. All right, so let's go back to let's head back to the WWE. Let's head over to Raw.
Can I say this before we jump to Raw? Do you mind? It's about just a blurb about Kenny Omega. I understand why he doesn't come to WWE. I know there was a lot of talk, people like begging, like please, clamoring for him to come to WWE. I think he's where his star is probably going to be. He just seems like he's one of those guys that would be, he's great internationally, he's great everywhere, but he would come to WWE and he would kind of he'd be one of those guys WWE wouldn't know what to do with. That's kind of how I perceive him. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe we'll see somewhere down the road, but he just strikes me as that type of guy.
He probably would come there and they would do the same thing like they're doing with Carl Anderson and what's his name? God. What the Luke Gallows. See,
Yeah.
they've done such a bad job with them that I forgot his darn name.
And that's kind of like what I would be fearful of, if Kenny Omega was to come to WWE is them not knowing what to, because we've seen them, bring in guys with a lot of hype and then they not know what to do with them. Because I mean, going to Raw, Apollo Crews was brought in with a lot of hype. He had a lot of hype when he had signed with WWE, and even when he, from the beginning, they haven't known what to do with him. He's just a black guy who smiles a lot. He's like the generic 2K character, So I have that fear also. I see what Stokes was saying, not as a knock on Kenny Omega, but as a knock on WWE and their booking.
And that concludes our New Japan talk.
We'll see you guys again
in about 3 months or so.
Oh no,
we officially are a well-rounded wrestling show now.
Oh boy, okay.
Yes. Next week we'll talk about like Combat Zone or something. All right. So let's head over to Raw. We've got the go home show for their pay-per-view. I won't say the name so Stokes won't laugh.
Great Balls of Fire.
Let's just go. Give me one good or just one good piece of information that you would like people to know about this past episode of Raw, whether it's good, bad, indifferent,
or the best Raw ever, like Stokes.
It's not your turn. We're gonna start with I was gonna say you, but now you want to jump in line, so I'm gonna go with Stokes first.
The best thing from Raw this week. Well, I only can say one.
Yes.
Okay. I enjoyed the Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar segment. That was really good. There was it seemed really authentic. It seemed real. Samoa Joe is really getting a chance to show people that he deserves to be a main event level talent. He's main event level in the ring. He's main event level on the mic. He does a really good job. I love the Joe's gonna kill you. He's kind of pulling a little bit of that old TNA Samoa Joe out. To the point where everybody knows that he has no chance to beat Brock Lesnar on Sunday. But everybody is, because he's been so good, everybody is praying that it happens. I mean, maybe not everyone, but I am. I would love to see him win. I know it's not going to happen. But Samoa Joe is proving himself to be a main event caliber. And that's one of the things that I enjoyed the most from Raw this week.
All right. Go ahead, Mac.
Well, I'm going to throw a swerve at you guys. I enjoyed Heath Slater and The Miz. I really did. And it was good to see The Miz with somebody that's not Dean Ambrose. And, another guy, I think Heath Slater, he's not like crazy underrated like I think Jay Lethal is. I mean, he's really good on the mic. He's improved in the ring. He's not the best wrestler out there, but he can tell a good story in the ring. And they had one of my favorite spots of the week when Miz went up to the top rope and Heath Slater ran up the ropes, and it looked like he was going to miss, but he ended up grabbing Miz and hitting him with that power slam off the top rope. I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that match. You guys know I love The Miz, and I actually love seeing him interact with somebody that wasn't Dean Ambrose, even though he still ended up interacting with Dean Ambrose. But that was one of my favorite segments from Raw, Heath Slater and The Miz.
All right, so that leaves Mr. Darius Brown.
And you know that I'm going to go with that the Shattered Truth moment where Goldust was out there. And what?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. You said Shattered Truth.
We're listening.
Everybody kind of had looks. I mean, they had the They had the Goldust moment, and Goldust was in the chair, and they, the Goldust and the lights. All right, so Y'all not feeling my gold dust moment. No, for real. I think the best thing was not the gold dust moment. I just try to show gold dust some love, man, because R-Truth is trying so hard. If y'all see him cut them promos on Twitter, it said, "Don't let me catch you. Don't let me catch you in the streets." I that was probably R-Truth's greatest work, but it wasn't on Raw, so I can't claim that. I would have to say the production of the Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar feud. I like the fact that they were in that interview, and then all of a sudden Joe says, it reminded me of so much UFC. I wonder if that wasn't bitten from UFC. We've seen a lot of fighters go on ESPN. John Jones and Daniel Cormier, who are having a rematch. In their first bout, they had the same exact thing. They were in separate rooms, but they were close enough to probably throw a water ball at one another. But in this case, in the WWE, we see Samoa Joe not just sit there; he's going to take it to him. So I like that. It seemed it had a real edge to it. So I like the production. I like the writing there. So I had to give thumbs up to that creative.
Now, while I won't go as far as Stokes did and say, this was the best Raw ever, like he told us in our group chat.
Goldust.
That's a lie. That's a lie. I said it was one of the better Raws in recent memory. That's what I said.
Let's check the tape.
Check the tape. I did not say it was the best Raw ever.
I know you didn't. I know you didn't. So I think one of the underlying themes for Raw this week was kind of like they took things that they were building on and didn't ruin them. So if you look at it, was a lot of good matches on the card this week. And I do agree with Stokes. This was one of the better Raws in a minute. It was a lot more wrestling, it seemed, on this show. But, you go from like Neville and Mustafa Ali, where, I thought he almost broke Neville's neck. Then you got the little quick segment. You had the ladies tag match, which was good. The Titus, look, man, I know I dissed Titus O'Neil a couple minutes ago, but what he's been doing with the Titus brand as the leader of the Titus brand, it's been really good, man. He sold Apollo Crews thinking he could beat Braun Strowman, had Crews hyped up. And Crews actually put up a fight and then went for his finisher and got punted across the ring for his troubles, which was, hey, we got to find a GIF on that on Twitter somewhere and just share it for the rest of eternity. I thought that was hilarious. But it was just, I think it was a really good Raw. It was kind of different than what we've had recently because we've had terrible shows. And even though this wasn't the best show, I think just it being an okay show was better than what they've been giving us.
I was going to say something towards that line right there, but you just basically took those words out of my mouth. All right. So we've got currently about, I think, 8 matches on the card for Sunday's pay-per-view. The pre-show match will be Neville versus Akira Tozawa for the Cruiserweight Championship.
That's on the pre-show?
Pre-show, yep. They've got a lot of bigger matches to put on this show.
That's a shame.
So let's just go around the horn. What do you think? Who's winning, Neville or Tozawa? He'll have Titus O'Neil in his corner, I'm sure. Stokes.
I'm going to go with Neville.
All right, Darius.
Neville.
And Mac.
Neville's been one of the best guys on Raw the past couple months. I'm going with Neville.
All right. I don't pay any attention to 205 Live people. I know Neville's a champion, and I like Akira Tozawa, but Neville's still winning. But they got to do better with that darn division.
I was going to say, Shane, I don't blame you for that because the division has sucked. So
yeah, they got to do something better with that. All right, so we've got
it's good wrestling. They just got to develop characters. Like the wrestling's not bad.
How long has the show been on? They can't develop characters yet, other than the fact that Noam Dar is a
Well, it's elevated Neville.
But
One person.
so to counter that, yeah, it's elevated Neville, but we don't know how high it's elevated Neville because they don't let him interact with anybody else. You know, that's where I think
I thought you were going to say it's elevated Neville, but it hasn't elevated anyone else, which I would have agreed with that point.
No, I mean, they keep those guys separate, like they're not even a part of Raw. So it's kind of hard to see how much Neville's been elevated when he doesn't get a chance to wrestle Seth Rollins. He doesn't get a chance to wrestle Finn Balor, you know, guys like that. So I'm pretty sure he could put on a great show with those guys, but you know, we don't know.
And the thing where we were talking about branching off the ladies in TNA and the X division in TNA and having their own separate show that was talked about in their peak, in their heyday. They had already been on the brand and established as part of the thing, and that was just so they're going reverse. They're trying to build from scratch instead of building those guys up and then highlighting them by taking them away. So I think that's one of their biggest mistakes.
I agree.
So we have part of the reason why I think that match is on the pre-show is because we have the WWE Raw Tag Team Championship match that's going to be a 30-minute Iron Man match. So you're guaranteed to see one match go at least 30 minutes, more if we get sudden death. Cesaro and Sheamus, The Bar versus the Hardy Boys. What do you think here, Darius?
I think they need to cut this match in half. That's what I think. But I think the champions will retain. The Hardys have lost their luster. And until maybe this match will go so long, Matt will get broken, and then maybe they can, you know, put some spark to their careers. But champions retain.
Stokes?
I agree with Darius on this one. I don't see why they would take the belts off of Sheamus and Cesaro. I think the Iron Man match, I think it'll be a good match. I think it'll catapult, you know, of course, the Hardys are the Hardys. They're like rock stars. But I think that it should further catapult Sheamus and Cesaro because I think they're a good tag team. I've been saying that for a while. It'll be interesting to see. I've heard rumblings that Matt Hardy's broken character is close to being his to utilize. So it'll be interesting to see if we're getting closer to maybe seeing that character in WWE.
All right. Matt.
I think the champions retain. Like Stokes just said, there's no reason for them to take the titles off Sheamus and Cesaro. They're hitting their stride. They've gotten, since they've turned heel, they've kind of like found their character groove, I would say. So I think the champions retain.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the news about the settlement between Matt Hardy and Anthem is true, because if we can get the broken stuff, then I would be a little bit more happier with the Hardys being in the WWE. All right, so let's now jump to Enzo Amore versus Big Cass in just a regular singles match. I think it's fairly obvious that the winner here will be Big Cass. I hope Enzo gets the living hell beat out of him because, again, his character has pissed me off. I don't care if he shed that one thug tear. Stokes, what about you?
I thought Enzo, first of all, he was going to be my second choice when we were talking about the good things from Raw on Monday night. I thought he had a very good promo on Raw. I'm not the biggest Enzo fan either, Shane, but I thought he did a solid job. I see some type of DQ finish in this match where maybe Enzo doesn't lose or he wins by DQ, but he kind of gets destroyed by Big Cass. You guys heard it here first. I said it months ago that Big Cass was ultimately going to get himself somehow into the main event picture. I said it when he was in that Fatal 5-Way back a few months for the Universal Championship. And I'm becoming a prophet, guys. Big Cass is on his way to the top.
All right. Mac, what about you?
I kind of was leaning towards the same way Stokes is. First of all, I think this should have been a pre-show match, but I don't see any way. I don't see how they let Big Cass lose. But like I said, but like Stokes said, to piggyback off him, Enzo's promo was great on Raw. The backstage segment where he jumped Cass was really good also. Showed that he's not a punk. And that he's a little dog willing to take it to the big dog in a fight. But ultimately, the only way I see him winning is by DQ or count out or whatever, double count out, something like that. But I think Big Cass ultimately goes over.
A double count out would not be a win.
I know that.
Well, I'm not a fan of Baby Test or Enzo, so
baby Test.
This could be a dark match for all I care. They aren't good together. I don't want to be. I get that he's tall. Okay, I mean, do I want to see him as a main eventer? Do I want to see him challenging for a world title? Stokes, you better be wrong, because I just don't want to see it. He's
holla at me in a couple years. It's not going to be immediate.
Couple years. Oh no. No. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Just go ahead, Shane. No.
All right.
He didn't even pick anybody. He's so disgusted. He's like, just go ahead, Shane. Just go ahead. No.
Something, since we're talking about disgusted, I'll just jump to a match that, I have that same feeling about. And it's Seth Rollins versus Bray Wyatt. I'm tired of Bray Wyatt. They're doing nothing excellent, nothing amazing with this character, which I think had so much promise. I don't care who wins this match. It's Bray Wyatt, so I assume that he loses because he tends to lose on pay-per-view. What about you, Mac?
I actually forgot they were feuding until I watched Raw this week. That's how not into this feud I've been. I'm tired of Bray Wyatt too. Just because they build him up to be this monster, and then, I mean, he loses more than he wins. His character isn't compelling anymore. And it's just kind of like sad to see that Seth Rollins is actually kind of languishing right now. I really don't care. I think Seth goes over just because they want Seth to go. They love Seth and they want to keep Seth as the victor here. But ultimately, I don't really care.
All right. Darius, any interest in this match?
I can fall asleep on this one too. How many times do we have to say what a disappointment Bray Wyatt's character is? You mentioned earlier, they wouldn't know what to do with Kenny Omega. They don't know what to do with Bray Wyatt. And Seth Rollins is okay. I mean, he's, trying to be Triple H. Yeah, I didn't buy into him in ROH. I think he's better now, but not a fan. So no, I've got nothing.
All right, Stokes.
What a negative Nancy today. I like Bray Wyatt. I just don't like what WWE's doing with him currently. I, too, did not know he was feuding with Seth Rollins. I guess I haven't been paying that much attention. So I guess for the sake of making a pick, I'm going to go with Seth. I'll take Seth Rollins.
All right. This is a feud that we all know is happening because they don't stop feuding. The Miz is putting his IC title up against Dean Ambrose, hopefully for the last time.
Please, Lord. God. This is going to be like Randy Orton and Cena, where they'd be like, oh, they will never have a match again. Never again. For the final time. And then like 3 weeks later, they like incorporated some way.
Yeah,
and if you look at it, we kind of know this is probably going to continue because whatchamacallit, the singer guy is feuding with Finn Balor, so it looks like he's off Dean Ambrose's right now. So that means Dean Ambrose has nobody else to feud with but The Miz. So I mean,
I'm taking The Miz, by the way, if you want to know my pick, I'm going Miz.
Dean Ambrose can take on anybody else. I don't give a darn. Put him against somebody that's in the lower card. Have him go wrestle the 205 guys. I don't care. I just don't need to see him wrestling The Miz anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
Worn out.
Yep.
I'd rather see Renee Young.
I do too. I'd rather see Tanae Young, which is Tyler Breeze.
Oh Lord.
All right, so I think we're all in agreement that we're bored of this feud. We're gonna move on. Not even really worthy of a pick, but I think we all hope that The Miz wins so that we can stop seeing this. Because if Dean Ambrose wins, Miz has his title rematch. So let's move on to the ladies. Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks. Where do you stand or sit, Darius?
I'm still trying to figure out why Nia Jax isn't in this match. That's where I sit. I'm confused. Sasha Banks is okay. She's okay, but they had a strong showing with that gauntlet match, so I'm not hating on the WWE completely for this placement. But it needs to happen sooner than later. But since she's not in the match, I've got to have Alexa Bliss retain. I would love to see some interaction. They are best friends. We say this each and every week. They're best friends off of the camera, just like we talked about the chemistry between the Usos and the New Day. Let them be involved as much as possible so that will bring up their chemistry and their work in the ring and give us something to talk about. But let's go with the retain.
Daniel Price does not care for Sasha Banks either. Okay. Mac. Yeah, I forgot who I was going to go to. Mac, what about you?
Sasha is close to reaching Dean Ambrose levels for me. Sadly, her and Bayley both, but I mean, Alexa Bliss is one of my favorite people on Raw right now, so I'm gonna go Alexa Bliss retain.
Stokes.
I agree. Alexa Bliss is my pick, and I think we will see Nia Jax possibly get her opportunity at SummerSlam. So I'm going to go Alexa Bliss.
All right. And then we got two more matches. Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman in an ambulance match. Mac, what do you think?
First of all, I hope this match. Okay, so I'm gonna go give you my pick first, and I'm gonna give you the reason why. I kind of hope this match finishes in like a no contest, so we can get another one because I love the work that these two have been doing together. Braun Strowman is phenomenal. I like Roman Reigns, and I've enjoyed seeing them two interact. Last week he almost sent Roman through the ambulance. This week the big dog came out, speared him through the screens. It's very compelling. It's probably the best feud on TV right now. So I actually kind of wish it would keep going. So my pick is gonna be a no contest, and they're just gonna give them another match at SummerSlam.
All right. Stokes.
Like with most things in life, Courtney, you are wrong. Not about the feud and all that. It's cool. I agree with that. It's been pretty good. I think Roman Reigns is going to win. It will set up his eventual match with Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, and his eventual he'll be crowned Universal Champion at SummerSlam. So this is all the lead up to the coronation of Roman Reigns. I think he's going to go over in this match. Although they will still, Braun Strowman is really good at, well, he hasn't lost many matches, but when he loses, he still stays strong. So they do a good job of keeping him strong. So I think they do that in a way not to diminish him, because you know what? Maybe John Cena, Braun Strowman at SummerSlam. You know, you might get that. So we'll see.
Do you agree with Roman Reigns going over Darius?
No. I think Strowman's the guy. Let's go ahead and continue to make him dominant. I think he should not quite give him the Goldberg 2-minute run through, but I think he should at the end of the match, whether it's a 5-minute match or a 15-minute match, it should end in total destruction of Roman Reigns, and let's put him over as the next guy to go up against Brock Lesnar. So I think that's where we're headed. I don't think they need to necessarily wait till WrestleMania. We can have this go down at SummerSlam and just really start making Raw even more about Strowman and Roman Reigns. We talked about in the chat room the reformation of the Shield. Maybe he needs help eventually to defeat this big mighty beast, but Strowman destroys him. I'm hoping for.
I don't think they're gonna let Roman lose and not go on to eventually get that title. So I'm gonna think that Roman wins, even though it hurts my heart to say it. All right, so that brings us to.
So before we go further, and I know people have bitched and moaned about this ad nauseum, but I just don't get why. And listen, I like Roman Reigns. I really like Roman Reigns. I just don't get why they are hell bent on putting a title on him. Look, man, Braun Strowman is the hottest guy in the company. Well, Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe. But Braun has just been destroying people. And as much as I like Reigns, I'd be very, very disappointed if Reigns comes out the victor just so he could go on to main event SummerSlam against Brock Lesnar. I'll get to him in a minute, but for the love of God, WWE, put Strowman over. Okay. Y'all suckers gonna get enough of no syllable, yo.
Are you done? Are you done? Are you done? Are you done?
Whatever, man. Let's move on.
Oh, so much dead air when Mac talks. So much dead air. All right. So we've got the main event, which is Samoa Joe challenging Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. I feel that this is going to be a hard-hitting, suplex-filled, rare naked choke-filled, possibly blood-filled encounter. Who you got winning this, Stokes?
Can I say something? Oh no, never mind. Sorry. I'm gonna go with, well, of course I want Samoa Joe to win, but I'm a realist here, and the reality is it's gonna be Brock Lesnar, unfortunately. So that's my pick. I'm gonna take Brock Lesnar reluctantly. I would love to see. I hope they make Samoa Joe still look like a beast, a submission machine, and let him get some offense in. I hope this isn't a squash, because Samoa Joe deserves better than that.
I mean, but we thought Randy Orton deserved better than that, and that's what he got at SummerSlam last year.
So then what's your picks, Mac?
Okay, so I picked Samoa Joe when nobody else was during the 5-way. So I'm gonna pick Samoa Joe again. I'll be honest. The way people feel about Roman Reigns is the way I feel like about Brock Lesnar. Get Brock the hell off my TV, and I don't want to see him anymore because I'm tired. If he's just a one-time every 6-month novelty act, cool. But as the champ on your main brand, no, get it out of here. I don't want to see the belt on Reigns either. But if it takes Roman Reigns to get the belt off Brock Lesnar, I guess I'll take that. But I mean, dog, get Brock Lesnar the F off my TV. He's in the same boat as Roman Reigns for me.
Tell him why you mad.
As Dean Ambrose for me. Because, I mean, it's just like the stories are, when Brock was facing Cena, it looked good, and he suplexed Cena 16 times, and then Reigns and Seth Rollins. But it's like, how many freaking times are you going to keep playing this same old Brock Lesnar angle out? It's been the same thing the last 2-3 years. Brock Lesnar is the champ and not showing up. Even though this time he's shown up more than he has of recent, but I get the belt off of him. I want Samoa Joe to win. I'm predicting Samoa Joe will win because maybe WWE realizes that, hey, look, man, we got a star on our hands. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I'm going to go with Samoa Joe.
All right.
I said if Stokes was based on reality, I'm based in the fantasy world, and I'm going to go ahead and pick Joe. For many of the reasons Courtney said, Brock Lesnar is a beast in the ring, but I think it does a disservice when he's gone for so long in between these bouts. And the U.S. title, or the Intercontinental title, is not elevated, so we don't think of that as the brand's championship. So it's just a championship without a brand. So I prefer that he loses and lose in vicious fashion. Now, you can't repeat what we just saw with Goldberg. So there's got to be some back and forth. And I think that back and forth will help build him as he's broken in this bout and beat up in this bout, but yet comes out the man on top. I don't have a better reason to pick Brock Lesnar. I don't see the upside of Brock Lesnar. So for that, I think Samoa Joe. And we may see an old school, because there was a mention way back when that Samoa Joe wants everything that Brock Lesnar has, his title being one, Paul Heyman being another. I wouldn't mind seeing Samoa Joe get the victory with a turn a la maybe a throwback to when Paul Lee turned on Brock for the Big Show. So I wouldn't mind seeing Samoa being a Paul Heyman guy, because he's not that great on the mic, and that will continue to utilize Paul while getting rid of Brock Lesnar.
Boy, you do live in a fantasy world, don't you?
But I also think
you said that when I predicted the gender become champion too. So let's go ahead and keep your mouth shut and just wait.
I'm just saying, ain't no way. You listen. No.
I heard this before.
Brock Lesnar is losing on Sunday, unless it's like a DQ. So he is not dropping the title on Sunday.
Okay.
Not a month before SummerSlam. No way. No way.
I don't need to get this.
Book it.
Okay. I mean, you could be right. The odds would be in your favor to be right. But if you're wrong, good God, I am taking that 30-second rant, and that's going to be the open for the show. And the close.
The odds are forever in my favor. I've seen the Hunger Games. The odds are forever in my favor.
I have not seen the Hunger Games. Okay, I saw the first one, but I don't remember it.
All right, that concludes our rundown of WWE Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view coming up this Sunday on the WWE Network. For $9.99, unless you've never had the WWE Network, you can sign up and you get a free month. So there you have it. All right. I'm saying we are in super extra time. I guess because it's the four of us, we got to get a super pack extra long show. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be back down to our regular two-man rotation for the next few weeks. I won't be here next week because I'll be on a cruise. But please check out thevesey.com. TheVesey.com. And if you want to write, or you know somebody who wants to write, and it could be on a range of topics, whether it's sports, entertainment, video games, um,
Movies,
culture,
television, culture.
politics. There you go. Anything. You know, you like to write poetry. We could throw some poetry up there. You got a podcast? Talk to us. We can hook you up too. You know, thevessi.com.
That's
final
actually
words,
pronounced
fellas.
VC, Shane.
Oh, my bad.
I know.
You know, I'm sorry. You could have threw me a pronunciation in the chat box.
Sorry.
Thanks. I'm sorry. I grew up, you know, up in the Northeast. I know about Peter Vessi, the sports guy. So I don't know. That's why I was pronouncing it that way. But the VC, thevc.com. Check it out. Final words. Talk. I'm gonna shut up.
I got nothing, man. Everybody have a great night. Thanks to everybody in the chat room who's always showing love. Always a good discussion. Appreciate it. TheVC.com. Be sure to check it out.
I said the Vessi too, but it's definitely the VC. He is 100% correct on there. but you know how we put our own twist on people's name. Don't matter what their mama gave them, even though VC was named after a slave captain, but that's all right.
Mama call him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
Next week, people.
All right.
All right, and as always, we save the best and most insightful for last.
Oh, Jesus.
No,
who are you, Jerry Springer?
But no, thanks for everybody. Thanks everybody for joining in the chat room this week. Check out the VC.com. What all those guys said. Peace.
All right, everybody. Good night.